Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the channel. I'm your host, Thickestboii. Today we're going to be reviewing a movie called Peninsula, what is known more as the sequel to Train to Busan. Now, it's very cheap of me to compare this movie to its predecessor, so I'll keep the comparison to a bare minimum, as doing so will show how shit this movie is as a standalone film. Oh my god, you're in for a treat. Or not. I'm the one reviewing this. I have to watch this over and over and over again, but you'll see. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for that nonsense action packed zombie film genre, but Peninsula was supposed to be different. Train to Busan had characters you cared about, the selfish, the selfless, and those who were just caught in the middle, in a confined space to add tension. Not to mention that mere sight of a single zombie was enough to get the audience soaked in fear, and that same fear could be seen in Train to Busan's characters. Peninsula, on the other hand, well, you'll see what happens. They have their own unique story to tell, but I feel like they drifted away from that story and fell into a pointless pit of PS4 graphic CGI car scenes with loopholes bigger than the moon landing. This zombie movie was just a weird heist film, just like Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 12, 13, like the bad kind, basically, without charismatic actors or common sense for those characters. And what do we get as characters for this movie? Dumb, dumber, dumber, dumby, lunatic, and Jared Leto Joker wannabe. And this invincible prick. How are you not dead? And yes, Invincible Prick and Dumber are the same person. But also, Peninsula not only has one, but two Mary Sues. If you didn't know what a Mary Sue was, here's the description. Just pause the video and read what it says. Just a quick explanation of why they're Mary Sues. 1. They're not bothered by the zombies. 2. They seem to be untouchable. 3. They seem to know everything. The kid knows how to drive, the other kid knows where to go. It's too convenient. Not only that, but this kid just happens to be better than everyone else. Just out of nowhere. No explanation, just he grew up there. Let me put it this way. I was more disappointed to see this film as I was disappointed that Two Girls in One Cup wasn't the new milkshake in Starbucks, and that bukkake isn't the real cake. But if you think you've signed up for a story-driven movie with an extremely intense environment full of danger, unexpectancy, sacrifice, relatable characters, understandable characters, and a plot so thick it's thicker than a bowl of oatmeal, your expectations will be subverted. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Peninsula. The movie begins with a family driving away from the city and towards the docks to be evacuated, when suddenly an obviously not bitten man approached and asks for a ride to the docks. Why do you think I say it's obviously that he's not bitten? Well, the time it takes to infect and turn someone only takes a matter of seconds, as you can see from this clip. This is from Train to Busan, but I'm using their own rules that they've made themselves. I'm just pointing it out there. But I guess the audience is supposed to be him in this scenario. And if you were to put your own family's safety at risk for strangers, everyone would choose their own family, right? Not in this case. In my opinion, there are a lot of things that he could have done to make sure he wasn't bitten. Maybe show the wound? I don't know. This is the only time that the writing will get lazy. This scene will be very important later. You can also put the guy in the boot. If he turns, he's stuck there. This writing is absolute gold. Only gets better from here. And keep this in mind, there's only one child. Fast forward and we see an obviously infected person. How he got there, no one knows. Convenient for him, I guess. I just imagine the meeting. Say, Jim, how can we get an obviously infected person on a heavily secured American ship? Then Jim stands up and cleverly replies, off camera. Then everyone claps and lives happily ever after. We are then treated to the scene where, props to them, they weren't afraid to kill off the kid in this movie. I'll give them that. I hate it when people have the thickest plot armor in the story just because the writers need them, but more on that later. We fast forward to Invincible Prick having the chat with the generic American soldier about where they are, when suddenly a fellow soldier tells him there's an infected in the lower levels. Mr. Incredible, knowing that he has the thickest plot armor since this juggernaut, runs down and cleans up the mess. And the mess being one zombie. Keep this in mind, there are a ton of bloody handprints on the walls. I guess the zombie just likes finger painting? I don't know. um, and I also think people could have done it themselves because they're tending to people who were bit. But here's the juicy scoop. Only one person is fully turned in the space of 5 minutes. This person was supposed to have been already a zombie and killed roughly 20 people. But wait, it gets better. 2 shots were already fired. Keep count of how many shots he fires. Spoilers, he never reloads. I know I may be nitpicking here, but if your budget is 16 million US dollars, I expect quality. So Invincible Prick opens the door to find a zombie rave with his sister in the middle tending to her infected son. Okay. Why haven't all the zombies turned already? As we've seen, it only takes 5 seconds for a person to turn. I guess the zombies want them to have a moment? Until that one uncle from the party who drank too much decided that he wants to have more attention and starts to attack the host. Or is that just my uncle? Now we are near the end of this scene, but did you keep count of all the gunshots like I asked you? If you did, then good. Say it with me. He shot 19 times without reloading. I did some digging, and here are the list of full potential handguns that could have been used. The sidearm used by the North Korean military are either Daewoo K5 with 15 rounds, IMI Jericho 941F Tactical 16 rounds, Heckler & Koch USP9 Tactical 18 rounds max, Beretta 92FS, which I won't show because it's not a Beretta or a Glock, but a friend of mine also stated that it might be a foreign version of an American 1911S, which can hold 7 to 8 rounds. These people get paid to make movies like this. Just going back to the shooting scene, a quick blooper. Here we can see Invincible Prick blowing off his load on poor Jim Bob here, but look closer at the magnificent effects team's job and you will see a slight hiccup. Bullet wounds magically disappear. I guess the Invincible Prick chewed more than he could swallow. Then generic white guy comments on what has been happening since Train to Busan. Cue the generic action movie title sequence. Feck off, film.
Полное видео скоро будет.
Full video coming soon.